Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory chat today. I want to talk, no rush, questions, topics. Brighton on Thursday, what a week we have ahead of us. We've got Brighton on Thursday and we've got Fiorentina on Sunday. Very important games to keep the momentum going. And yeah, I wanna look at some statistics today. I want to look at some broader statistics under De Rossi, showing us how this team is improving. And then I also want to talk about Champions League because I think the topic, especially after these wins, it's very tempting, and I think it's very fair for us fans to look at the table and switch that Champions League mode on. And I do want to talk about Champions League. I do want to talk about calendar. What type of games we have in March, a month which we cannot underestimate. And then the teams around us, what they are doing, what they've done in this game week. I also want to speak about Tammy, as you can see from the thumbnail. Tammy is back in the thumbnails because I want to speak about Tammy. I want to speak about how he can and what he can bring to this group and to this team under De Rossi. So yeah, as always, no rush today. I'm planning to stay live for a bit. So as always, interact. If you've got any questions, we can go through all the questions you have. If you've got football related questions, if you've got any questions, pop them in the live chat. Smash the like. If we can get 80 likes on this live stream, it would be great. And let's start. How are you feeling, by the way? Monza the day after. 4 goals against Monza. I'm buzzing. I'm extremely excited. I can start to see, and we are starting to see the first light underneath the tunnel. Yeah, very excited. We're at that stage where I cannot wait for Roma games. There was a certain stage a few months ago where I was like, oh my god, we're gonna lose this game. We're gonna lose the next game. We're gonna lose the next game. We're gonna lose the next game. Nowadays, I'm like, bring the next game on. I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. And our next game is Brighton. Our next game is Brighton indeed. We've got a very important week on both the Serie A front and the Europa League front. I don't want to spoil the Brighton match preview, but if we can say a few things about Brighton, we need to prepare that game very well because yes, Brighton are not living a good moment, but Brighton are a team which has many tools in their artillery, and they can hurt us in many different ways. And also, another thing about Brighton is that they're a very weird team in a sense that they're very bipolar. They might lose 4-0 and then the next game they might win 4-0. So it's a series of games that they aren't going well. I'm expecting a reaction, and I hope that reaction will not come on Thursday. They do have a lot of players missing, so that will be good for us. But yeah, I mean, look, I do want to start by looking at some stats because stats tell us a lot about football. Stats tell us about tactics, and I am a big fan of stats. Under De Rossi, we have won 7 games out of 8 in the league. In the league games, we have scored 2 or more goals in every single game under De Rossi, which means that Roma have got the best attack in the league since De Rossi came to now. So from the 16th of January to the 3rd of March, Roma have got the best attack in the league. Inter are second. They do have a game in hand tomorrow evening against Genoa. That is, you know what I keep on, what I'm very surprised about here, and I'm not repeating what I just said in the match reaction, but what is the most surprising thing about how De Rossi is impacting this team is that he is bringing a completely different identity to what our identity was 40 days ago. And this identity looks like it's working very well. With no summer preseason, with no preparation to actually step in, have some time to implement your tactics. No, Because if you don't remember well, Mourinho was sacked on Tuesday. De Rossi had his first. De Rossi was appointed Tuesday afternoon. He had his first training session with the group Tuesday evening, and then on Saturday he had the first game. So the thing which is surprising here, which I think is it's not what we expected, which is why it tastes better, is the fact that he has brought a completely different system of play, and this system of play is working really well. Now, one thing is a manager coming in, bringing a new philosophy of football, but then the team isn't getting results because it takes time for the team to understand the new tactics. But no, the surprising thing here is exactly this. It's the fact that he came in and in no time we've won 7 games out of 8. And I don't want to hear all that bullshit saying, oh, these are little games. That is bullshit. That is utter bullshit. Because that is what you call bullshit. Because Mourinho played against the same teams in the first round of the season. And yet we wasted so many points against those teams that it's the reason why we're not in a Champions League spot. Because had we won against Salernitana in game week 1, against Verona in game week 3, against Genoa in game week 7, and all of these game weeks, we would be third with Milan at 9 points to where we are now. So people saying, oh well, these are easy games, that's bullshit, because you all are acting as if Mourinho had different games in the first round. No, it's equal, and that is the thing which is continuing to surprise me here, is the fact that the team looks very confident, having had zero preparation with these new tactics, and yet they look completely new. So I'm surprised. I'm shocked. That's the thing. That's the thing here, because it's surprising that the team is understanding each other so well. The players look like they now understand each other more than what they did 3 months ago. So and this brings us to where we are now. You know, in the middle of a crazy schedule, because we've got one game every 3 days, basically. We've got, maybe not every 3 days, but we've got one game every 4 days, no doubt. You know, we played on Monday against Torino. After 4 days, we played against Monza. After 4 days, we play against Brighton. After 3 days, we play against Fiorentina. It's that stage of the season where we've got games after games. And I'm not complaining, because that's what a big team needs to do. If you want to grow, you will need to play more games. You need to find the rhythm, and it's exactly why squad depth is massively important, and minimizing injuries is even more important than that. And the other big surprise, in my opinion, which I'm not sure if De Rossi brought or not, but the other surprising thing of this period, which is why it's a very positive period, it's that we have barely any injuries. Now again, it's just so tempting to not look at this and ask yourself a lot of questions. Because I do not understand how it's possible for the same team with the same players to go from a period of the year where we had an average of 2 injuries every game, and the most injury-prone player, Dybala, being out every 2 games, to a period of the year where all of a sudden nobody gets injured. Dybala is playing. It's been 2 months now that Dybala has been playing constantly with no injuries. So okay, yeah, when Mourinho left, his physios left, his preparation tacticians left as well. So maybe De Rossi's physios are doing a better job in terms of preparing and minimizing injuries. Maybe they're following a different program which minimizes the intensity at which injury-prone players need to train. I'm not sure, because I don't live inside Trigora. We will never know this. But what is certain is that, again, this is another scenario where I look at this and I'm like, this is weird. This doesn't feel right. Renato Sanchez is another one. I know Renato Sanchez isn't playing, but I swear that under Mourinho, Renato Sanchez got injured in training sessions. All of a sudden, Renato Sanchez isn't injured anymore. And I could name a lot: Dybala, Renato Sanchez, Pellegrini. I mean, it feels to me, and this is another confirmation, but it feels to me as if injuries 2 months ago were forced injuries. Players, I'm not saying they got injured on purpose because that I could never say that. These are professional players. But it feels to me as if nowadays players don't want to get injured and they try their best not to get injured. But before, if Pellegrini got injured, oh well. Please, am I the only one who feels that? Because it is weird that nowadays we don't have any injuries anymore. When 2 months ago we had injuries over injuries and we were the most injured team in the league. It is weird. But yeah, to go through this schedule, this tough schedule, which will see us play against Brighton on Thursday, against Fiorentina on Sunday, then Brighton again, then Sassuolo at home. You need this. This is the number one ingredient. You can't make a cake with flour. You can't win games if every 2 games players get injured. So it is. It's one of the reasons why we are succeeding. It's one of the reasons why we're winning games even when we feel tired because we've got backup options. And Champions League is. I mean, Champions League isn't a dream anymore. Champions League is, I'd say, a duty. Not only because we need to be in it, but because it's a duty believing in Champions League when you're at this stage of the season. I still think that getting fourth is gonna be very hard, and I still follow that path. I still believe that getting fourth is gonna take a lot of effort because yet again today Bologna won away at Atalanta, and I'm gonna speak about Bologna in a second because if you're Roma, you need to speak about Bologna because our Champions League hopes kind of do depend on them. So with Bologna playing like this, and with Atalanta, yes, they've lost a bit of momentum lately, but Atalanta can win big games. I still think top four is very hard to achieve. I still think that if we get that fifth spot, and it looks like we are because all 7 teams that qualified for European tournaments have proceeded on to next rounds, which is big. You know, Roma, Atalanta, Fiorentina, Lazio, Napoli, Juventus, and Milan, which is now in the Europa League, are all still in Europe. So that's a very good thing, even though Milan have relegated into the Europa League. Um, and I think Inter can win the Champions League, and I think Milan can win Europa League. Maybe not, because Milan aren't actually that good when you actually zoom in and look at the problems they have. But they have a chance. They've got the experience, so I wouldn't be surprised if Milan win it. I wouldn't call them favourites, but they can win that tournament. Um, so yeah, I'd give it a high percentage that we do get that fifth spot. Again, I think it'd be very good if we can get that fifth spot because I think getting fifth is doable. It's very doable. I think getting fourth is doable, but if we get that fifth spot, the probabilities increase that we get in the Champions League. That's maths. It's still a competition between us, Atalanta, and Bologna, but I think we need to believe in it because everyone's so close together that bottling games can cost the other team below you jumping ahead of you. It's very open. We've got what, 12 game weeks to go, 10 game weeks to go until the end of the season. It's a lot. Bologna can slip up. Atalanta can slip up. Milan can slip up. We can slip up. A lot of things can still happen. But what is certain is that this Bologna team, I'm going to be that guy who says, Bologna, look, I think Bologna deserve Champions League. I think when you have these seasons, it's kind of destined for you to get that Champions League. They're playing so well. They look so confident. They could beat everyone. They've got players which they've given value to. Zirkzee, Ferguson, Salamakers, players who look unbelievable. Um, and I think with Bologna such on good form, it's going to be very easy to ship that fourth place from them and steal it from them. But again, I'm also the first one who says that with merit and with gratitude and with all the hard work that Bologna is putting, Bologna is also as a lucky ass team because they seem to only win with a 1 goal gap lately. So, and again, today, I'm not saying that was a penalty, but they won on a penalty. So there is an extent to luck on this. Bologna are a great team. And look, I'm going to say it as a Roma fan. Bologna deserve Champions League more than us this season. But just like that they merit and they do deserve it, we need to also say that they are a bit lucky because and I think luck is a big part of football. You know, it's not wrong to be lucky. But I still ask myself, can Bologna really keep this for another 10 game weeks? Because 10 game weeks is a lot. 10 game weeks is 30 points. Can Bologna seriously still keep this rhythm from September to December to May? Not even Man City can keep the same exact momentum and rhythm for 10 months straight. I do actually question myself what Thiago Motta did inject in these players because they look so confident that I keep on saying, oh, Bologna's going to lose next game, and they keep on winning. So Bologna, the fact that Bologna won against Atalanta, that does ruin the perfect Sunday, because this Sunday had the potentials, if that game ended as a draw, to be that cherry on the cake. But I'm happy. We can't ask it for everything in life. So we need to fight for that. And I think Roma-Bologna coming up in a few months is going to be a 9-pointer game, not even a 6-pointer game. Roma-Bologna in our home ground is going to be a 12-point game, you know, because the gap isn't big. 4 points from us and Bologna is nothing. It's nothing, but you just never know. You just never know. They keep on playing like this. In terms of other teams, Napoli have scored, says Jose. Yeah, I hope Napoli don't get back because all we need right now is to minimize the teams who compete for top 4. And I think Napoli back could pose another threat. In terms of teams who I think we can officially discard, Fiorentina, I think, are not going to get top 4 and are not going to get top 5. Lazio, I think, are not going to get top 4. It's not going to get top 5. They're not. I think that they're too distant. They've bottled too many chances. They lose far too many points against big teams. That the race is really between us, Bologna, Atalanta, and Napoli, who apparently are winning against Juventus. It's between these 4 teams, I think. Bring it on. Game by game. Game by game. We need to start winning big games for sure. But yeah. Right. With that being said, let's speak about Tammy. If you can hear a background noise, it's thundering it down today. Look at that rain. It is actually very impressive. It's been raining all day. So if you can hear some rain, then yeah. Tammy. So Tammy apparently is going to be back training with the group in a few weeks. Some people had said after the Monza game, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. I think Tammy's gonna get back training with the team in about 5 days, maybe next week. And it's big because, speaking about squad depth, adding a player like Tammy, with Tammy's experience of having played in a big club, Tammy's experience of having played in a fast club, because Premier League is a fast league and it looks like we're playing faster, so Tammy can have his chances and bury the goals. But as always, when we speak about Tammy, we need to end each sentence with a ... Because, number one, we don't know what level Tammy will come back to. And number two, we do not know how Tammy will come back and after how much game time he's going to officially be back. Because if anybody here expects Tammy Abraham to, get back from an ACL tear and score a goal, then that's dreamland. That's where Shrek is from. Um, Tammy's injury was a serious injury. Tammy's injury was a delicate injury. It's an injury which, for 70% of players who have it, they don't return to normal positions and normal fitness levels. It's a painful injury which not only destroys your leg, but it also takes you out of the pitch for quite a long while. So Tammy would have his momentum completely lost, his fitness completely lost. So his rehab needs to be gradual. I expect him to play 10 minutes in a game that way maybe we're winning 3-0. Then the next game play 30 minutes. Then maybe play 30 minutes but when we're losing a game so that he can put that intensity in attack and try and score a goal. Then play an entire first half. Slowly, we cannot start Tammy back and start him in 90 minutes. No, that's wrong. That's how you destroy him. That's how you destroy him fitness-wise. Destroying him psychologically means having a lot of expectations and killing him whenever he misses a chance when he's back from such an injury. That is going to kill him psychologically. Tammy will need time. But what I do want to say about Tammy is that De Rossi said this, and I am really curious to see this happen. Dybala, Pellegrini, Tammy, and Lukaku play all together. Because if I had to pick one player between Lukaku and Tammy Abraham to fit De Rossi's way of play, I'd pick Tammy. Because De Rossi's style is more quick pass, movements, in the box, cut in the box, and Tammy's good at that. De Rossi's system requires a striker which is good technique, which is good with his feet. Tammy is great with his feet. In terms of technique, Tammy's better than Lukaku. Miles better than Lukaku. Lukaku is miles better in terms of sense of positioning, keeping the defenders away, winning fouls, using his physique. Yes, of course. Tammy Abraham isn't good at that, was never good at that, because he's very tall, but he's that skinny. So, in terms of physique, and in terms of when we play against very physical defenses, Lukaku is perfect. But when we play against Brighton, for example, Tammy is the perfect striker because you need somebody who's fast and you need somebody who's good with his feet, because that is how De Rossi wants to play, and that's the striker that this team needs if De Rossi is going to be the long-term solution. Which is why, if De Rossi stays, I'd rather keep Tammy than Lukaku. But again, this isn't a rumor, just putting it out there to give you an example. If we get Conte, which I hope we don't, because I hope we keep De Rossi, but if we do get Conte, for example, then we need to keep Lukaku, because Conte and Lukaku are the duo made for hell. So it does depend on who our next manager is going to be, but Tammy Abraham is going to be a big exclamation mark of De Rossi football. Because that's what De Rossi wants, and that's the striker which fulfills De Rossi's criteria. And I think that's something which has to be said. So yeah, look, looking at the schedule, by the way, we have, if it's not an easy month. I remember calling this a sneaky month a few days ago. Yeah, the first game of March was perfect. Now we've got Brighton on Thursday. Fiorentina on Sunday is a sketchy one. I see Belotti scoring in that. I don't know why. And then Brighton again, and then Sassuolo at home. And then April kicks in. So we've got 4 more games in this March. Again, as always, we need to play on both sides. We need to play on the Serie A and we need to play on the Europa League. I would argue that this season it's more important to give more attention to the Serie A than the Europa League. Look, I'm contradicting myself when I say this, because I am the first one to say that as a Roma fan, and I think we can relate to this, as a Roma fan, the number one goal this season is to lift that Europa League trophy, not just because of pride and glory, but because the world, UEFA, Lazio fans, Feyenoord fans, Lazio fans just deserve that if we lift that Europa League trophy. So in terms of getting back what has been stolen from us, in terms of cold reactions, you know those iconic cold reactions Roma robbed in 2023. Roma lifts the trophy in 2024. That is what football is about. And there's this sense that there is this. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe people who are my same age can relate to this. I'm addicted to my phone, right? And I spend a lot of time on TikTok. And on TikTok, it's full of those cool edits with cool songs and cool music and cool sounds. The amount of time that I spend with my earphones on, listening to those cold, iconic, trending songs on TikTok edits in my living room with this ball and just reimagining that Europa League scene and going ta na 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 na. That's me 10 hours a day. So in terms of how much it means, Europa League is immense because I just want to see all those edits of Dybala crying after that Budapest final turn into Dybala lifting that trophy with an insane transition. I can only picture all those Roma edits with Dybala crying and then all of a sudden the beat drops and Dybala lifts the trophy. That is what Europa League means if you're a Roma fan this season. And I personally, my emotions relate to that. You know, again, those edits. I'm Ibanez missing the penalty. A sad song appears in my TikTok feed. I imagine being Ibanez missing that penalty, and then the sad beat drops, and I'm like, I hope this isn't weird, but I hope people can relate to this. Yeah, Europa League means a lot if you're a Roma fan. But Champions League is more important than Europa League. Playing in next season's Champions League, I've said it for the past 3 days, you need to be playing in the Champions League. You need to be playing in the Champions League if you want to be relevant. And not playing in the Champions League yet another season would be a suicide. Especially if Bologna get in the Champions League. If Bologna get in the Champions League and we don't, it's even more embarrassing. Let's be honest. It really is more embarrassing. We can get in the Champions League, but it's not going to be easy. And of course, playing both tournaments is what we need to do, but it's going to distract the team. It's going to take energies out of the team. And it's going to tire the team. But we need to be playing in the next season Champions League. And what is costing us right now, what is costing us that Champions League positioning in that table is that stupid fucking start of the season. That is what is costing us that Champions League at time of speaking. Those stupid 3 initial game weeks of the season where we looked like complete morons not even wanting to win those games. That is what... And look, what did I say back in September? Flashback to the end of the season, those are going to be the moments that we're going to regret having lost. Because, you see, it's the games that this team needs to win. And that is what it's costing it. So, we just need to get in the Champions League. Winning Europa League, getting 4th, getting 5th, I really don't care. As long as we play, as long as we hear that Champions League anthem in our ears again, it's a success to me. I don't know. I don't care how we do it. We can go in with a robbed penalty, and I'd be the happiest man on earth. It's time to get back. It's been too long. It's been too long playing Thursday night football. It's time to go back to Tuesday nights. It's time to go back to Wednesday nights because Conference League was great. Europa League was robbed, and we would have played in that Champions League. But that's it. We need to be playing in the Champions League, especially next season where the format is going to be different. It's going to be an entire group stage. It's going to be interesting. The money, circulation of money that goes in that tournament. I could name 20,000 reasons, but the thing that we need to do now is try your best because the champions is what we need. Right. I loved your reaction to the Lukaku goal in the watch along. It was fantastic. Thank you, mate. We are going to smash Brighton, says Jose. We've got 4 games until the international break. That's interesting. Let's see the next 4 games before the international break. We've got Fiorentina away, Sassuolo at home, Lecce away, and Lazio at home. Realistically, to keep Champions League hopes alive and going, we need 10 points out of 12. Am I asking too much? We need to not lose any of these games. A draw against Fiorentina would be great. Then I expect 6 points against Lecce and Sassuolo. And then I expect 3 points against Lazio, because I've had enough of losing derbies. Can we be honest here? I've had enough. I don't care if it's a big game. I want to win back derbies. I want to get back winning a derby, because not only it could cost us the Champions League, but I'm also fed up of losing derbies. So, look, the only game where I will accept some lost points, not a loss but a draw, is Fiorentina, even though I think we can win that game. Dreams is 12 points out of 12. Realistically, we need 10 points out of 12 to keep on hoping. Bologna and Atalanta both have Inter and Juventus in the next game week. So again, it's that time of the season to capitalize, assault those 2 teams, and just stretch apart from those other teams. Hopefully Juventus equalize or even win tonight. With that being said, my dear friends, I am going to end the stream. Let's see some more comments. Tommaso Baldanzi, welcome to the stream. Kvara scored the goal. Why I cannot see Lukaku on FC24 online mode? No idea, mate. I don't play FIFA anymore. I mean, I play FIFA 22. I'm stuck in the past. I'm stuck in the prehistoric era. Roma versus Lazio and Roma versus Bologna are going to be so important, says Omar. We have to keep good rotation management, says AD. Imagine hearing the Olympicos scream the champions. That's what we need. That's what we dream of. But more than dream of, that's what we need to be doing next season. Bring it on! What a moment it is to be a Roma fan. I'm going to continue saying this because it is. I'll catch you tomorrow. Start of the week. Massive week. Brighton and Fiorentina. Purple and blue. Seagulls and purple shit. Talk to you soon. Hopefully Juventus win. If we can get 80 likes on this video, it would be amazing. Thanks for the support. Subscribe if you're new, as I just said. And yeah, talk to you soon. See you out.